The birds are chirping. The sun is out longer. It's a little bit warmer outside. I was wearing shorts today. But you know what? More importantly than all of that, I don't know where to start. Do we start with the draft? Do we start with Wacko for Flacco? Who better to ask than Andy McNamara, Sick Browns pod host, Railbirds TV host, and great friend of mine.
Griff, how you doing, brother? How you doing, my friend?
I can't complain. It's like the most beautiful time on the sports calendar, like, and just in general. Like, like I said, it's April. We had a great Masters yesterday. People are getting outdoors more. Playoffs are around the corner for the NHL. Baseball's in full swing. And you know what? The NFL draft's 10 days from today.
Boy,
next
man,
Thursday night.
I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped. Now it's really, we've had all the silly season rumors ramped up.
Yep.
Everything now, there's still going to be some more rumors, but there's some bit of clarity, at least to me, in that top two. Maybe now I'm getting more confident in the third part with the Giants, but you mentioned it off the top. Flacco fever's back. Griff, he's back. I'm so happy. I just wanted an alternate to Kenny Pickett, or at least a possible alternate to Baby Hands Pickett. I couldn't have that. I was like, you've done so much wrong to me already, Browns. Sean Watson got rid of Baker. You're going to give me Kenny Baby Hands Pickett too? Still might happen, but at least there's Joe Flacco, which is the last good memory Browns fans have.
Yeah, I was literally thinking about this today because I always like to prep, like when I'm just during the day of thinking like, hey, what am I going to talk about? And like the one thing I was trying to think of too with this is just, you know what? It's a move that, look, does it signal that the Browns are going to be the last team standing in the AFC? Like, I don't know. It's too hard to say. It's April 14th. Probably not. But it gives the team something to cling on to and the fans to cling on to after what was such just a railroaded season, if you will. Like it was playoffs in 2023. Last year was just injuries upon injuries. If you excuse me, because I want to make my lighting better. And now, look, more than anything else, too, you have this new sense of just, hey, there's going to be a new quarterback. The Watson mistake, it's being erased. More than anything, I don't think a lot of Browns fans are appreciative of is the fact that Jimmy Haslam flat out he said it at the owners' meetings. Look, we regretted the decision.
Big swing and a miss. Thought Deshaun was the quarterback, and he wasn't. I'm like, that's as clear as day. I love it. It's what I always expected, because if it was Andrew Berry's decision as the general manager, he would have been fired.
Yeah.
No doubt. So that's the situation where it's like, well, yeah, it's probably the owner, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. So it's good that they did. Now, here's the problem, Griff, is that, and people are like, oh, the Browns should get Kirk Cousins and all that. The fact that he wasn't released, the Browns have no money.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson's $36 million to the cap this year, that's going to go up next year and the year after that, because they keep kicking the money down the trail. So Deshaun Watson won't be on this team, and you will still be getting punished for that terrible move for an additional 2 years. It's just the thing that doesn't seem to end.
Yeah, it's like the never-ending like roller coaster. Like you think you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then oh, there's more money for
there's a dip.
But the other thing I want to talk to you about as well, because it does concern the draft, is look, last time he came on was right before Super Bowl, our Degenerate show, which I gotta say, I did fantastically on some of my Super Bowl picks. Shout out DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
But in that time was, hey, Myles Garrett, I don't want to get traded. I don't want to do this. But I love how it's just like, what made you stay? Money. But like in all seriousness, though, like I say that jokingly, but because with him, it's like, look, there obviously was some friction there between him and management with wanting to win. But the fact that even if 2025, because if you look at the AFC North, we saw it on Hard Knocks last year, Baltimore's still going to be good. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are kind of wild cards in the sense of we don't know where it's going to go. There's a lot of pressure there to win. Then you got Cleveland just kind of lurking in the shadows where it's like, hey, they had a 2024 wasn't really to par. It wasn't there. So now they can make the approach where I have a two-pronged question for you. The first being it's not even a question. It's more of like just I want an answer. Basically, if you had to rate from like a 1 to a 10 on confidence right now within like you yourself and other Browns fans on how the season can go, where is that standing? But then the other thing too as well is regardless of what happens, even if the team misses the playoffs, Will Stefanski and Barry, do you think they're almost not guaranteed, but do you think the likelihood of them being here in 2026 is on the table at the moment?
I'll answer that last one first. And the answer is yes, because also of what Jimmy Haslam said of, hey, if the quarterback's there this time, fine. If not, we'll get him next year. It's essentially giving a mulligan. Again, it is Jimmy Haslam owning up and saying, whoopsie, this whole Deshaun Watson debacle that, I don't know, crippled the franchise, you might need more than 1 year to dig out of it. And so I think as long as you show improvement, still so much depends on the draft, right? Where do you draft a rookie quarterback? Who is that rookie quarterback? Is he just a guy later like, or you expect it to develop and you want to see it? As long as you improve and are competitive over that horrible 3-win season, I think they will be there, because then the idea would be, one, like let's say with your Patriots, right?
Yes.
You see the rookie comes in at some point and you're like, ooh, I think he's the guy. But the record, still need more pieces. Or you see the rookie a bit like, I don't know. And then you draft somebody else in what might be a better quarterback class. But Griff, as we know, every next year is the best quarterback class. Every next year. Remember this time last year? Ooh, Carson Beck. Anyone clamoring for Carson Beck? Anyone? Remember Quinn Ewers? Yeah. Anyone want Quinn Ewers, who's now going to be a 4th-round pick if he's lucky? Arch Manning, I heard today there is a extremely strong possibility that Arch Manning does not come out next year, and because that would just be his first full year as a starter, and he will go back for a additional year. Plus, he's making a crap load of money in college with all the NIL. So there's no guarantee with any of the quarterbacks. That's why you got to go take your guy. So I think the Browns, Barry and Stefanski, will be there. Confidence level, oh boy, man. You know what? It's funny. The Browns lately, a bit kind of with the Baker years, have kind of gone every other year. They've had and the good years are always very surprising. So maybe we're in for a surprise. I would put, with the Flacco move, pre-draft, so I can change my rating, I would put my confidence level in the season. Let me ask you this. Is confidence they have to make the playoffs, or is it like confidence that they will get more than 3 wins? Like, what do you think?
Where you think they'll end up in 2025? Like 10 being, I don't expect you to answer at 10 being like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to be great. We're going to go like 12-5 and host a playoff game. And then a 1 being like, how a lot of fans can be super pessimistic about their teams, especially in April.
You know what? I'll give it a 5, because I think they're going to be able to run Stefanski's offense and try to reboot what they were doing in 2023. So I'm going to say 5 confidence level, right in the middle. I'm teetering, and I could go either way.
So I'm a 5 as well for Cleveland, because when I look at them from this is a complete outsider's perspective. I look at it as they're not a 10 in the sense of where it's like, I think they could be a bubble playoff team, because I was even thinking about this for the playoffs for next year. You can make a case for any team in that division potentially making a run in the AFC North.
Mm-hmm.
But then besides that, so there's 4 teams there. You still got probably a Houston, a Jacksonville, a Buffalo, Kansas City, LA, Denver. That's 10 teams looking for 7 spots.
Yeah.
There's some teams that I'm waiting to buy stock in on. But right now, and I'm going to point betting to this because betting and fantasy is something Andy and I love to talk about, and The Simpsons now too, which makes me even more of a great friend.
I love that.
Basically, if Cleveland's win total right now is like sitting at, and which, you know what, I'm going to go to Andy's BFF, DraftKings, to see if it's listening.
There we go. Oh, yes. Oh, futures. Are futures up already?
I'm genuinely curious, because I know they'll be up for the draft, but let's just go here. Honestly, I saw cricket before I saw the NFL, which was just making me go like, oh. NFL division winners. So right now, Cleveland's plus 3,000 to win the division, but that's another thing. They are first year, though. Over 4.5 wins on the year is something I would probably take.
Is that what they have them at?
DraftKings has them over 4.5. That's asking them to win 2 more games. Here's the other thing too with Cleveland as well. There's less distraction. There's less just pomp and circumstance. But the other thing I like to point to with this team as well is, even if this team goes 6-11, 7-10, they get another 3 wins this year that they didn't get last year. I don't think there's going to be fans where it's like, it's going to be disappointing, but it's not going to be like last year where, look, I saw you making videos. I saw Johnny Fanta with the videos of just complete like essays, just ripping the team and the organization. I think that Cleveland's just looking for competency. And in your division too, there's two teams right now where there's a lot, the action for fired is a lot louder than I think people realize, which is Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. And for everyone saying, oh, Pittsburgh, I say it because look, Pittsburgh, it's like that weird purgatory where they're not good enough to win, but they're not bad enough to be bad.
Do you know the one quarterback on their roster right now, Griff?
Yes, it's Mason Rudolph.
That's the quarterback. I am giddy. And they don't have a second round pick, by the way, because they gave it up for DK Metcalf, who I freaking love DK Metcalf. I was very sad when he went to Pittsburgh. So now I have to hate DK Metcalf. But a heck of a talent. But you got Mason Rudolph. And they're at 21. And there is a overwhelming feel right now, which can change and it could be nonsense, that they're not taking a quarterback at 21. So let me ask you this. Their only game plan is waiting for Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, but you can't like bank on that.
Exactly.
That's my thing. You can't.
That's the thing. I hope Aaron Rodgers stiffs them and they're stuck with Mason Rudolph and some bum in the 4th round. Oh, Griff, I would.
They have some bigger problems to worry about too. I don't know if you saw, but TJ Watt was posting the deuces on Instagram where
he just wants to get paid. They'll pay him.
Oh no, I know he wants to get paid, but like he's basically looking at Myles Garrett. He's looking at Max Crosby. He's looking at all this situation where it's like, hey, I'm up there with these guys when it comes to defensive end talent. Where's my money?
And that's where the money. Here's the thing: if you're an organization and you wait, it never gets cheaper.
Nope.
So TJ Watt is going to want at least what Myles Garrett has, at least.
Yeah. And it's also to looking at DK Metcalf saying, hey, you gave him $150 million over a 5-year period. Where's my 100-something million? But no, circling, and also I say Cincinnati too, just because they paid their guys. They did the big boy thing. Now it's, hey, you can't miss the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
But going back to the actual draft pick itself, because we all know number 1, it's Cam Ward. It's no one's gonna be surprised next Thursday night in Green Bay when Goodell says that name. 2 is interesting to me because I feel like on one hand you have Carter, where it's like you can recreate this like monstrous just defensive line with him and Myles Garrett. But I feel like that's more for want than for need. I feel like Travis Hunter is the play for them just because when you look at Cleveland, look, they've got David Njoku. Jerry Jeudy's good, but there's no one that, like, I'm going to use this term in a very good way. There's no one on the Cleveland receiving core that, makes you get out of your seat. There's no one where, like, DB coaches and D coordinators are losing, and this is not to knock insult. Like they're not losing sleep over guarding Jerry Jeudy, like a Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson, like that elite talent where it's like, holy crap, we got to do this, we got to double this guy, we got to do this, or like, if it was like a prime Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you add Travis Hunter to that offense, and even if you have this year of Flacco and Pickett, next year, whether it's an Arch Manning, Carson Beck, quarterback to be named later because it's April 2025. I'm not going to go into quarterback rankings for next year because
and there'll be guys we don't know about. Yeah,
there'll be a crazy crazy name that emerges that no one really sees coming, like what happened with Joe Burrow. And you know what? If you have, it's like what the Giants are going through right now. I'm not saying the Browns are going to win 3 games like the Giants did, but at least with the Giants, if there's if there's competent quarterback play, we saw what Malik Neighbors did with non-competent quarterback play. So if you get Travis Hunter, who, like, I would say is similar talent levels to Malik Neighbors, just an overall receiver sense. If you get that with halfway competent quarterback play with Cleveland in a well-run offense under Kevin Stefanski, next year you have a quarterback that comes in, and that's when everyone looks at the Browns and they have that, that Mac Jennings moment from draft day, which I'll be honest with you, I think my wife and I are penciling in a night next week to sit down and watch it.
I'm watching it with me and my dad. We watch it every year, so we got that on the as our little tradition during draft week. So we got that coming up.
And pancake next Thursday for dinner.
You know what we got to do is we got to tell each other at the end what our player written on the sticky note is. Who's your guy? I got mine. I think about that.
You know what? I'll send you after the Patriots pick at 4, I will send that to you because that's because this draft though, and like even that though, because like how year 2, Giants are 3, we're 4, it all ties in because it's like it's like a butterfly effect almost where it's like, hey, because I feel like if the Browns go Hunter at 2, Carter's going 3, but Carter going at 3, it'll be interesting to see what happens to the Giants because that offense is atrocious, but that's another story. Because the Patriots are 4 of the wild card. There's the left tackle glaring need. There's the no quarterback need. But then my thing is if Shedeur doesn't go at 3, where does he fall to? Because I know everyone's saying like, oh, he could go to the Steelers at 21. With that news of that Derek Carr injury, and look, his money is fully guaranteed for this year. The Saints do their Saints voodoo magic every year. If they're locked into him there, you can get a quarterback on a rookie contract that's under a pretty good scale. So I know they drafted Spencer Rattler next year, but this draft as a whole really starts with Cleveland because Cleveland goes one way. New York will say, all right, we're going to go this way.
Yeah.
And then the Patriots at 4, and I believe Jacksonville at 5 is really where the fun will begin.
Right. I think Mason Graham is almost a lock for the Jacksonville Jaguars as long as the Patriots don't take him.
So it's a fun story with that. So they obviously they gave a lot of money to Milton Williams about a month ago. Christian Barmore is gaining towards health. He had some issues with blood clots last year, and we just want the person to be healthy first before the footballer's healthy. Right. But I feel like if Christian Barmore wasn't healthy, that's when you'd start hearing those bells going off. But because of that, I completely agree with you. Jacksonville had a horrendous run defense last year. So I think Mason Graham's the pick there. But it's number 6. I believe that's the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
That's really where the fun begins. Is it Ashton Genty? Is it Shedeur Sanders? Is there someone else we're not really paying attention to?
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? Like the Raiders could it be Teteroa McMillan? Could use a big old wideout. Might be a bit high, but if they like him,
they don't have anyone else to throw the ball to. Their receiver depth goes from Jacoby Myers to like. There was a couple names where I'm like, I don't even know him, and like if I don't know a name, that's when you have a problem.
Like you don't think Geno Smith and Pete Carroll want a big old receiver, their own DK Metcalf for Geno to throw to?
So here's the thing with the Raiders too. I feel bad for them because it's like you're going to be good. You have the potential to spark, but then you look at the rest of your division and it's just like, looking at Thanos, where it's like, okay, you have the Chiefs, where like the Chiefs are going to be a very interesting team this year because I feel like they're almost at a crossroads right now.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there's no one there that's really flashy to throw to. As Andy already knows, I'm already on the do not draft Travis Kelce for fantasy football train.
Oh, me too.
And then you have the Chargers who, look, I'll say this right now too, for fantasy football perspective. If he ends up in the right situation, buy early stock in Tyler Warren, especially if you're in a dynasty league.
They need weapons. They need a spice. This will be the year you watch. They need to spice up that offense for Harbaugh. They need to really get some playmakers there. So I think they'll go. And you know what? There's not a lot of number 1 wide receivers outside of McMillan and Hunter for sure. There's a bunch of really good number 2s, right? There's Bond, who I think got into some legal trouble, so maybe.
Yeah, there. Matthew Golden is the name I would say before him.
Yeah, out of Texas.
Emeka Buka from Ohio State, who I feel like a name that's very flying under the radar right now.
He arguably could be maybe have the best NFL career out of anybody if you take out Travis Hunter because he can play both ways. He's that good.
Yeah, that's the thing with this draft. I feel like a lot of people kind of get lost in the sauce about just certain talents. But I will say this, so if your team doesn't need a tight end, the tight end names of there's a guy out of Alabama named Robbie Oots who just looks amazing. Alex Barr from 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston, got me on him. There's Mason Taylor, son of Jason Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
There's Gunnar Stahl from Texas. Oscar. There's Oscar or something with a D. Delp, I think, is his last name.
There's Helm too. Is it Gunnar Helm?
Gunnar Helm.
Helm.
Gunnar Stockton is the quarterback for Georgia. That's my apologies. He's the starter for Georgia this year. But there's so much raw talent that's going to be discovered, because I still say this with the NFL draft, and I want to get your thoughts. If you hit on a day 1 pick, you're doing your job. You're excelling at your job if you hit on those day 3 picks, even those Friday night picks. You hit
that's where you make money.
Yep, that's where scouts make their money. You hit on that 4th round wide receiver. Look at Puka Nacua for the Rams. You hit on that, you look like a genius.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to hit on 1st round picks. You're supposed to. You find the right picks later that fit well with your system that can make it happen. And then all of a sudden you're looking at it and you're thinking, well, maybe this is a GM and a situation that we can build on long term, right? And you feel good about it.
No, absolutely. That's the biggest thing right now with the draft. You have to look at that because even you look at Cleveland right now, where if they want to take, if Jackson Dart's still lurking there when their second pick, if they want to do Quinn Ewers later, if they want to look at, even too, there's a couple Canadians involved in the draft. There's Curtis Rourke out of Indiana. There's Taylor Elgersma, who went to Wilfrid Laurier University in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada.
That's the quarterback, right? The Canadian Heisman. Yeah.
If you want to take chances on guys like that, that's where I feel like Cleveland's now really, especially with the Flacco signing, it's really setting themselves up for not short term, but long term. And that's what you want to do if you're picking anywhere in that top 15. If your team missed out on the playoffs, you won 7 games or less, you're looking at the next few years ahead.
You need difference makers. You need guys who can start in the first 3 rounds. That's what makes the NFL different from so many other sports, right? NHL, your second round pick, maybe you never see the guy, right? Yep. But NFL, first 3 rounds, depending on the position, need to be starting players. And so for a team like the Browns that are so hamstrung by the salary cap, you have to have cheap rookie contracts contribute. That's why it's so big for this team. And they have needs just about everywhere. Like really, you need a new running back. Offensive line you could use. Could you use a D tackle? Safeties all over. Another receiver, sure.
I was going to ask you about the running back room. What happens there this year? Because obviously, look, Nick Chubb was looking like one of the best running backs in the NFL. His leg snapped against thing. It's just one of those stories where I hate when everyone says, he's reaching an age limit. I'm like, I think it's the nature and the unfortunate nature of the NFL where, look, when it rains, it pours sometimes when it comes to injuries. I think that's it. I don't like everyone going, oh, he's injury prone. I'm like, I don't think there's a thing as injury prone. It's luck. It's a luck.
Well, and then he broke his foot on the same leg he had the surgeries on. Now, good news for that is it did not require surgery, clean break. It'll heal and be fine. Now, Nick Chubb has, from all accounts, like 0 interest from other teams, which is great because what I'm hoping is after the draft, you bring Nick Chubb back as the short goal line RB. Give the fans, you gave him Flacco. You owe us ownership. You owe us some good feeling. I want Nick freaking Chubb back. When the ball's at the 2, give it to Chubb. And you get that rookie. Maybe it's one of the Ohio State guys. Travion Henderson, maybe it's Judkins. My guy, Ollie Gordon out of Oklahoma State. I think you can get him end of the 3rd, maybe 4th round. I think that guy's going to be sensational. Comparisons to a young Kareem Hunt. And you have a rotation. You have Jerome Ford there too. Yet the bottom line is with the Browns going back to the Stefanski offense, more focus on the running game, and you need 4 tight ends. The Browns right now have David Njoku and a guy named Blake Whiteheart. Anybody hear of him? He caught 1 touchdown this year, but let me tell you, not the guy. So the Browns need to draft a tight end.
Yep.
Get another veteran tight end somewhere after the draft, and Whiteheart or somebody else. But the fact is, you need to amp up that and make more dynamic that running game, which was left for dead a year ago. So Jerome Ford is a fine middle piece. He can catch, he can run a bit, but you need the go-to on 1st and 2nd down, and that should be, I don't think Amari and Hampton's getting out of the 1st round. So it has to be one of those, maybe Ohio State guys or somebody else, a difference maker. You mix in Nick Chubb. Now we're talking. Now we got 3 different types of backs that you can put in. You get Njoku, you get a nice, one of the rookie tight ends we mentioned that can catch, be a playmaker too. Get him in there. And then you start to have the offense built back up. And you start to go and you have Joe Flacco, who knows the offense perfectly and operated it fantastically, and who can step right in, assuming that, Griff, there's going to be a quarterback competition. I'll tell you this. If Joe Flacco loses, I'll put in quotations, a quarterback battle to Kenny Pickett, that thing's rigged. Come on.
Yeah, I honestly think I completely agree with you there. I do think Flacco is the starter. Look, it's the feel-good story for Cleveland. It's just the year where, look, I feel like it's just more about progress. It's just they want something to latch onto. Like Cleveland right now, it's not about 2025. It's about 2026 into the 2030s. As good Lord, I'm aging myself.
Oh,
I know. but that's how I feel like the vibe I'm getting from you and just what I'm getting from when I see with Browns, where it's just it all goes back to draft day. The city wants something to cheer for. They want something to
Yes.
latch onto. They want something that they can claim as their own.
You want a splash. Travis
Yeah.
Hunter at 2, it wouldn't be surprising at this point, but that's a splash guy. That's a elite player. That's why Shedeur Sanders should not be drafted at number 2. He is not elite. Doesn't mean he's not a good player. Doesn't mean he can't be a fine quarterback for many years. He's not elite.
Yep.
At 2, I want elite. I want a guy who's a difference maker. I want somebody taken at 2, 1 or 2, who's like, "Ooh, things go right. That guy could be a Hall of Famer," right? That's what I want. I want a special player at 2. Travis Hunter is a special player. Abdul Carter with the injuries, I don't think the Browns will take him. And really, I now definitely don't think they're going to take him because they've really loaded up with extra defensive ends.
Yep.
They signed a guy, Aquara, from Arizona. Never heard of him in my life, to be honest with you, but the 3rd-round pick, defensive end. You signed Joe Tyron Shoyinka from Tampa Bay, who I also hadn't heard of, but I interviewed on the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara, a former Cleveland high school coach who's now an analyst for Cleveland.com, who on my show, we broke down game film, and he's like, look when you actually – Tampa Bay had that Shoyinka guy drop him back into coverage. You know the style, Griff, right, where it's like these defensive coordinators sometimes get too cute. Drop back into coverage. No, this guy is go get him. If you on the plays where it was like go get him, he went. So you have him, Isaiah McGuire, you have Alex Wright, you have some other sprinkles at a rookie. You have enough of a rotation there that my ears perked up and like, that's not a team calling for an Abdul Carter. They are calling for a Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And I can just picture Joe Flacco dropping dimes to Hunter down the field. Come on. Be beautiful.
With Troy Shoyinka, I did watch a bit of him when he was in Tampa. He seems like he can be one of those like hybrid players as well, where he can play deep in coverage, but he can also come up and play in the blitz as well. So you do have some talent there as well because it takes pressure off Miles as well. I know everyone thinks, I know, because here's the thing with Abdul Carter, you have everyone thinking like, hey, if the Browns go Carter, it creates a ferocious line. But it's like for both the Browns and the Giants, they need to draft offense, in my opinion. Both need to draft offense, both had horrendous offenses last year. That's why I was saying earlier to my point, you get Travis Hunter, that sets you up long-term for success in this league, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
The final question I have for you is, though, or not even a question, it's just something I'm curious about. Is the plans for the stadium actually happening, or is it just something that's like wheels in motion? There's nothing official right now. It's kind of like what's going on with the Bears.
My people in Cleveland, Griff, have told me there is dirt and machinery moving around on the site. The Haslams have officially bought the property.
Okay.
Now, actual ground digging, because they have to dig it low, like the LA stadium, because it's so close to the airport. So it's going to be like most of it underground, which I'm kind of excited about. It's going to be kind of cool. So like with the LA stadium, because it was so close, they had to dig it down. So that's going to be the case. I believe the plan is for actual construction to not begin until like 2026, but they're starting to clear stuff away and around, and things are in motion. And, you know, there's so many little local politics. I think it's mainly just bluster. It's going to happen. There's still financing stuff, but it's going to happen. It's going to be a beautiful stadium, I'm sure. And it's people say too, oh, you're moving it. I'm sure you heard, oh, they're moving the Browns out of Cleveland. No. Would you say the Buffalo Bills are out of Buffalo because Orchard Park? Nope. It's even close. It's closer than that. I've drove past that. It's right by the airport. It's legit a 15-minute ride. Maybe 20 if you get a couple traffic lights.
I mean, I looked up the Bears site yesterday, and it's like an hour and 20 from where Soldier Field is right now.
So is it out of Chicago? Are they moving the Bears from Chicago? No. The same thing. Right? Nope. It's the same angle. You need spot with space. It's going to be a gorgeous facility. So yeah, we'll see. That'll still be a few years away. But my people on the ground have said things are in motion.
Ooh, nice. I like it. So it seems like then probably 2029, 2030, I would guess, is probably.
I believe the plan, the lease is up in 2028. So yes, 2029 season, I believe, would be the plan to start.
Yeah, because I know Buffalo starting next year. I think the Titans are in 2 years, and then we'll see what happens to the Bears, because I know the Bears, there's a lot of local politics, but I know for them it's either they go up to that Arlington Heights or they stay by the lakefront in Chicago. It's just if they go to Arlington Heights, they can build like a whole Bears community. Like, which that's what I think the Browns want to do in Cleveland.
That's
They
the
want to
exact
build
same thing. Yeah, and why they're not going to stay by the lake, because I've been in that stadium numerous times, and the problem is there's not real there's some parking, but there's the traffic, foot traffic to get out is nightmarish. Oh, just terrible. Can't
Rest
do
in peace to the Muni lot.
Amen.
But look, I don't ask you to plug your stuff because everyone here knows where you are. Everyone here, they all love the content. But
Thanks,
what's
buddy.
going on? What's the Sick Network Browns show cooking up right now? What you got cooking up?
Well, on Wednesday we're going to be having. Actually, I mentioned him. Who we were going over the film. Lance Riceland, who's the guy, Cleveland.com. Phenomenal. I love like football nerds like us, Griff. We pull the film up on screen. He goes through some specifics, and he got me excited about a couple free agents I wasn't excited about, and being able to watch, and we break that down. And then also, because it is draft week, we're going to do a live 2-round draft simulator. We're going to pop it up, that Pro Football Network one, and we're going to go through first and second round pick and have some fun on the draft side too. So that'll be out probably Wednesday night. And if you guys haven't checked out and heard the detail, Lance is money. He's really good to talk to.
Oh, we love a good film breakdown and mock
Yes.
draft this time of the
Right?
year, because the NFL draft is one of those events that I love because it gets you excited for the season, but also the fact that the NFL's really capitalized on it and made it a moving road show. That's another reason too why I feel like actually Cleveland had the draft in 21, but I feel like they're going to want another one.
Because it was COVID. That would have gone, and we got hosed with COVID. Yeah, stupid. No.
I know if they ever go to if they ever go to Buffalo, which I feel like they will once that stadium's built, I'll probably be there too.
Yeah,
folks, the train is running because we have covered the Cleveland angle of things for the draft. But coming tomorrow night, we're covering the Chicago Bears aspect of the draft with Windy City Gridiron's Kyrie Thompson. But for Andy McNamara, I'm Griff. Andy, do you have any last words before we sign off?
On my sticky note, Griff, for the draft, after the draft day movie, it says Will Howard, no matter what. I don't care where they take him. Get him. National champion Ohio State Buckeye. That guy is Josh Allen. Just don't go to Pittsburgh, please. That guy's going to be a stud. Right situation, Griff. I'm telling you right now, he has Josh Allen-isms. Big, strong leader, overcomer. This guy's better and not getting the credit he deserves. He is going to be, I think, in the right situation, of course, coached up, sensational.
There was one on mine. It was Abdul Carter.
Ooh.
My new one is Will Campbell, no matter what. The tackle out of LSU. The Patriots need it. The Patriots desperately need a left tackle. I don't care about the arm length size. I know he is a machine, and that's all I want.
Gotta protect Drake May. Not this, people don't buy tickets to see offensive linemen, but they do pay tickets to see the quarterback play, and you need offensive linemen to keep them upright. So exactly. I'm with you. That'd be my pick for the Pats as well.
I'm very excited about it. Patriots preview, guys. We're still looking into it. We're probably coming sometime next week, and with guests to be confirmed. But anyway, guys, like I said, Kyrie and I will be back here chumming it up tomorrow night. Andy McNamara of the Sick Pod Network. I'm Griff, and remember, guys, draft day is a wonderful time of year, so you just got to take it for what it is. Have a good night.